Let's have a look at this now. Conflict continues to unfold in Ethiopia's northern region of Tigray. On Tuesday, Deputy Foreign Minister Redwan Hussein admitted that members of the UN security team were shot at by armed forces for breaching a checkpoint protocol. The shooting came as the UN and aid agencies are continuing to seek access to northern Ethiopia more than a week after fighting there was declared over on the 28th of November. Thousands have been killed in fighting that began on the 4th of November between government forces and those loyal to the leadership of the Tigray People's Liberation Front. Close to 50,000 people have fled to Sudan, while around 600,000 are living in Tigray dependent on food handouts even before the fighting began. Joining us to talk more about this is Independent Africa Analyst Bwasa. Bwasa, thank you for your time and thank you so much for joining us on Weekend Dawn. Now, I think my troubling question and the main question is a UN team being shot at by Ethiopian armed forces. How does something like this actually happen?
Well, Jacob, it is a very sad story, and unfortunately, it's déjà vu in Africa. And it saddens me when people are talking about uniting the 55 states of Africa, that we still see this disunity and division in Africa. So, but to take the story by its own, we must remember that this part of Ethiopia has been going on since 1991. And we cannot forget this historic part, although we don't have much time to develop on the historic part. But what is happening now is mainly due to divisions that are related to ethnic conflicts between the Tigrayan that are the majority into the Tigray province. And as a matter of fact, we must notice that when the event and the conflict erupted on the 9th of November, it was due to the fact that the Tigray province, because it's also understandable that the 10 provinces or regions in Ethiopia are federal states that rule themselves. So for them, not respecting the ban onto COVID and holding their regional elections looks like they were defying Abiy's ban on the election and the electoral process, of which he never, since they deposed the former prime minister, he never implemented a date per se that would say that the election will be occurring on this date. That's what led the provincial government to have its election, but nonetheless, they have never declared that they're going to be independent for Ethiopia. That's what we can say now. But it is very sad that today we have 60,000, and there are prescriptions that we might have more than 100,000 people fleeing the Tigray region, and that's very sad for Africa and Africans and humanity as a whole.
So again, the Ethiopian government agreed or guaranteed unconditional access to the United Nations, especially during this time, to provide things like aid and medicinal assistance as well. But the fact that they were stopped for going past a checkpoint without doing the proper procedures, does this actually mean that maybe the Ethiopian government has something to hide?
Well, it is obvious because remember that happening, Abiy comes from the Oromo people, and for them, they have been unhappy with the Tigrayans who have been ruling for quite a while. And one of the sentences that Abiy used to say, despite the fact that he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, but the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to him regarding the peace accord that is signed with Eritrea. But with regard to the internal factions, he termed the 27 years of the president, Nerawi, he termed that as the darkest moment of history in Ethiopia. And henceforth, we must remember that the Tigrayans have been dominating the military, they've been dominating the economic sector of Ethiopia. And for the Oromo, that are the majority in terms of Ethiopia, they were disillusioned by the Tigrayan, and that might be what has led to these clashes and to these people being hatched by machetes and everything, and that's appalling, and that's not acceptable. And that is what they're trying to hide, because there's no way, in terms of the provision of the constitution of Ethiopia, people in their own province can be killed by air raids, and so on and so forth. So this is what is difficult for the Ethiopian government to accept, that this is a war crime and human rights abuse in Ethiopia.
Jean, just in closing, in 30 seconds quickly, can a humanitarian crisis be avoided here, and how can that be done?
It's very difficult at this point of time. Now we are calling all the African leaders, and when I said African leaders, where are all our wise men, those Kenneth Kaunda, the Ketumile Masire? These people should come on board and try to solve the matter as under the Palava trade, because we have lost our humanity as Africans. It can be avoided if there are wise people that are going not through the system of the African Union. That should be disbanded and create a new environment to bring peace into the Africans, because we all aspire and desire peace for humanity.
All right, Jean Bwasa, thank you for your time. Independent Africa Analyst, talking to us about the troubled Tigray region in Ethiopia and how we can avoid a humanitarian crisis. He's obviously calling out for the leaders of the big nations to come together and make a plan for Ethiopia as the fighting continues, even though there's been a promise that it would end by the end of November.